Dam Guranamandala Kanyachayam
Mi San Ye Che Dan Su Ji Chonan La Chan Ju Pa Du Dan Yin Ge Da Gui Chi Yin Ji Vi Chonan Ye Zho La Ben Ji San Ye Zhou San Ye Che Dan Su Ji Chonan La Chan Ju Pa Du Dan Yin Ge Da Gui Chi Yin Ji Vi Chonan Zhou La Ben Ji San Ye Zhu Wa Zhou San Ye Che Dan Su Ji Chonan Chanju Badu Dani Japsu Che Dagi Ye Sanje Juba Sho Ladan La Memeda Myanji Buddha Jajana Chuja Java Chabana Sanja Sumbara Dushi Veki Teta Shi Timbishi Dini Shi Tivaji Deli Saviti Yubatin Jibatala Chulu Tashan Divela Beni Jason the Junsa Meda Ambitani Levato La Tubesunji Namonai could only done the Jinga to Bunda Nami and to walk on it and cheese about Tamjaka do. Oh, yeah, that's what that. Ani Luruki, Sashiganala, Kanda Tembat Niki, Nami number Mashawa, Teta Ani Sanja Tembai, Sambitini to Menjuru. Tanya Lani Madaba, Tambitini Domage, Tambitini Madonna, Yanganda, or Tom Juru Jenny, or that of Jinishinala, Suana Shi Cheni. That Kanda Demba Tiniki, Sirigana, Anita Demba Niki Nami, Samo, Kasore, oh, Tendan Demba, Ani Chenam, Arashi Chua, Capiton, Tendan Demba Tang, Ani Kunzo Demba. Demba Tingi Navi number Mashe Bala, Ani Sanjaki Demba, Tobe Demba Duvi, Ani Kasore, Samotambani Tom Jurusi, Kanda Demba Tingi Navi number Masheva, Tiji Sanja Demba, you Samitini Tom Jurusi. Dini Samitini Toba Tian, Ani Kanda Kore, Sana, Tanya Lani Madeba, Tambutini Tom Jurusi. O Tanyalanya Madabar Segana Sami Samotombani Kala Tela Babsaki Shi and you could do them by the Matoba Ani teething to Samotombani to Minerva Tanyalanya Madaba Tambutuni to Menjus Tambutuni Matoba and Yandeva to Menjus Atas Samotombani to Musundo Matona Ani Kasser or Quartici, and then dancing Mariba, and then bomb Miniva. Or dancing Mariba Pongera, and a Kuishin, any Chijimala, Quatinda, Ungrasukon, sorry, Chamachika Pongo in the or Dinza, Samituni Madonna, Aneta, or Dinzin Bam Depa, Dinzin Bam Madonna, Dinzi Sabi, and a Casore Sepapang. This is a Sabaton minimum. Yana Dinzin Di Jebaki, and each one to check it 1 year she told me never. That was me, but
So, yes, now as it says in the basic wisdom of Master Nagarjuna, one who does not know how to differentiate these two realities, which are the profound teaching of the Buddha, it does not
Kanda Demba Tini, Kanda, you Kanda, and you could do Demba the turn and with back in Nami Masheba, Kanda Demba Tini, Nami number Masheba. The Sanja Dembai, and you submit in your Menjuru.
So, one who does not know how to differentiate the two realities, which are within the profound teaching of the Buddhas, then such a person does not is so the one who does not know how to differentiate on these two truths or realities, such a person does not understand the reality as such, which is the profound reality as such within the teaching of the Buddha.
그래서 간다 덴바 테니 진나베 남바 마셰바 대다 산제 덴바이 아니 삼미 테니 또 민주로 산제 그 덴바 사모동반인지 되고나니 또 두고 말해지 테니 진나베 마시다 또도 있어나 그럼
So someone who does not know how to differentiate these two realities, this is referring then to phenomenal reality and ultimate reality, those two forms, dimensions of reality, then such a person does not understand the profound reality within the teaching of the Buddhas. I'm sorry, I memorized this once upon a time. And
산제 그 덴바 다 산제 그 덴바 세가나 다 산제 그 덴바 또반 뒤에기 안에 사모동반인지 텐데 또 두고 말해
ye nayo navijanati te tattvam navijanati gambiram buddhashasane. Look, samvrti satyam. Yeah. So someone who doesn't understand then how to differentiate these two realities, that is, how to differentiate ultimate reality and conventional reality, how to differentiate those two, then they don't know the profound teaching of reality that appears within the instructions of the Buddhas. And so what that is referring then the verses continue by saying,
다 사모동반이 또 타녀라니 마덴바 담비친이 또 메도고 세게 타녀시와도 군조 덴바를 전에 그와 안에데 타녀라니 마덴바세데 가르레세나 사모동반이 땡라 밥사기 시 아니 군조 덴바데 마도바 디땡기 아니 동반이 또 두고 말해 타녀라니 마데바 담비친이 또 menju를
Yavarham nashritya paramartona deshite. So that is saying that without depending upon that which is conventional, there's no instruction, no teaching of that which is ultimate. And paramartamanagamya nirvanam nadigachati. Without understanding the ultimate, there's no actualization of nirvana. So what that is saying then is that the two realities are related such that the phenomenal reality or conventional reality serves as the method based upon which one is able to understand the ultimate reality. Without being able to establish properly how things exist conventionally, then there's no way to demonstrate their ultimate nature, their absence of intrinsic existence. So the first of these, which is a conventional reality, is that things exist within causal relationships. And only within those they function in that way. Phenomenally for us, when we perceive them ordinarily, we can see cause and effect and all of those relationships. And so that then establishes that they do exist on a phenomenal or conventional level. But because we ordinarily misapprehend the way things actually exist, we falsely attribute intrinsic existence or a false kind of reality to them, then we don't understand their ultimate nature, which is that they're devoid of any kind of intrinsic existence. And so thus the second verse says that without depending upon conventional reality, there's no instruction, no way to teach ultimate reality. And then without understanding ultimate reality, there's no way to actualize nirvana. So the second part of this means that without understanding the absence of intrinsic existence, the lack of essence or the emptiness of things, that is, these conventional things which appear as if they're real, without understanding properly that they're devoid of intrinsic existence or essence, then there's no way to actualize nirvana, because nirvana is the complete cessation of the misapprehension of things as real, and that in order to actualize that, one has to first ascertain correctly, based on the way conventional reality operates, dependent origination and so forth, one has to ascertain that as a basis for determining that, in fact, they're devoid of any kind of intrinsic nature. And then that realization of their ultimate reality, the absence of intrinsic nature, is what eliminates that false misapprehension of things as existing as real, and that then finally eliminates the basis, that basic misapprehension of things, which, as we've discussed previously, is the source of samsara. So once one has eliminated that source of samsara, then all of the other things that derive from it won't occur, and then one will have actualized nirvana.
Oh yeah, that the umajibikazu serikana tanya demba tapsu chuwati. Tendam demba tapjun chuwati. Dini nami kangi mesheba. Dini namdo lobe lamga shu se ta tenda teyinbari. Da jinanji tanya demba de tapsu chuwa se de tendam demba de 아니 가서 tanya demba de tendam demba tobe tapsu chuwa se de tanya demba de kundu demba se de 또 사무동반이 강 시간게 된도 때라 바사게 시군조 담바도 왔대 아니 뒤에 된게 된단 담바도 왔게 탑수 주아래 된담 담바데 아니 탑레 중아래 세워디 탑레 중아 권이 좀 바시체 되니 다니 된다위 되니기 나면 강게 메셔봐 아니 메셔봐데 아니 라망 바시다 라시 메셔봐 아니 뒤로저 준비 가사데 아니 라망 바래 쉬와 송아이자 되니 남도 그다음에 강게 메셔봐 되니 남도 로베 라망 쉬
So this is exactly as it, or this is restated in the introduction to the Middle Way by Master Chandrakirti. There he says that phenomenal reality is the method, and from out of that method arises ultimate reality. One gains an understanding of ultimate reality. One who doesn't know how to differentiate those two properly enters into a mistaken kind of path, and by entering into that kind of mistaken path, then they wander aimlessly in samsara. So what this is saying the same thing that Master Nagarjuna said in the basic verses of wisdom, where it says that the first is that it's only through understanding phenomenal reality, having that as a foundation, that one's, or conventional reality, that one's able to understand ultimate reality, because it's within phenomenal things that we're able to ascertain the emptiness. That is, emptiness is based upon phenomenal things, in that it's the phenomenal things are functioning as like the basis upon which those things are empty. So only by understanding the phenomenal or conventional things, then can one ascertain their emptiness. And so emptiness, in that sense, arises out of the method, or is a derivative of this method of investigating and analyzing the phenomenal character of things, or the conventional nature of things.
Oh yeah, that tenderly, and it's how some company tell Mapabala, and Tibasum Jidunga, what she worked, Tabata Tavi Chamber Command, Tom Niva Yiza, Niela Samotomani, Tella Pap. Rebuke on it, Takasan, Tomana, Cheni, Chitudala Sowaki, and the Gajang even Nedan, Chawang even Nedan, and it didn't be Chudang even Nedan, didn't be Tudang even Net, or Nishi Jabala Tene, and it's Samotomani Tella Pap. And it then La Pap is Samotomani Tella, and it Kasan, Hondu Yashimba Cheni, and it comes in a Suma Dashi, and it's Seminary Gula. So
thus, it's the only way to understand this profound emptiness is, again, through investigating the character, the nature of phenomenal things, and properly ascertaining their conventional nature, and establishing through conventional valid cognition their character as both as in terms of being devoid of intrinsic existence, and then likewise they're being established conventionally or nominally. And so, as we've discussed previously, then one has to do that through examining them using analytical understanding by reasoning, and is what was laid out previously when we went through the 4 essential points of understanding emptiness. First of all, one has to identify the object of negation properly. Then one has to determine that if such an object of negation existed, it would necessarily have to exist in one of these 2 ways, that it would have to be either, in the case of the relationship between the I and its basis of designation, the aggregates, if the I was intrinsically existent or existed by means of its own intrinsic identity, then it would either have to be identical with its basis of designation, or it would have to be absolutely distinct from its basis of designation. Once you determine that extension obtains, that those 2 options subsume all possibilities, then you could proceed to analyze whether it's possible that the I could be identical with its basis of designation. All of the various reasonings that we did previously demonstrate that if there was a real I, it could not be identical with its basis of designation. And then likewise, with respect to if there was a real I, it couldn't be other than its basis of designation either. And therefore, once one's gone through all 4 of those steps, one determines that all possibilities for such an I, as it ordinarily appears to us as this real, autonomous, intrinsically existing thing, could not possibly exist. Once you've determined that, then one, in this context of the instruction here, one has developed already, in the way it's presented here, one has developed shamatha, and then so one takes that absence of intrinsic existence that one has determined, that mere negation, as one's object, and then one remains in meditative stabilization on that.
Oh yeah, the Randred Mart Kasan Shufte Ma Shusha, Tedanyamsha King Anes, and she was Chamoshiki Jebes. Neran la Chidar Navi, Yamba Jongangi Gibuam, Jongangi Gibutam, Dakam, Kansam, Nashewadi, and it, Nishi Jabaki, and it don't chamji dralas, Rashinji Chua the kidney, and it don't chamji drala. 대다위 동산 뒤 튼지 싸워 튼지 로라 싸워 차네스 다 같이 동산 뒤기 동무 동이 그 튼지 로라 싸워 차네 아니 셴 마저바 강양 일라 마셔봐 동다 동반이 셴 마저바 강양 일라 미쳐봐这就是냥바샤 내가 동산 뒤 진당 다 라신지 추와 까바기 까 잠지 내가 대란 아니这就下对干了叮当안에 중세 현도 소나 대양 냠샤긴 안에 응아다 안에다 제시 지트라서 덴드라서 와기 안에 리빙 아다 챘네 这就도 공반이 냠샤나가 답이 존주들이
So here then, back to the auto commentary. This is the lower part of page 95 in the Tibetan. It says that, thus, within the state of that meditative equipoise or meditative concentration, with a subtle form of awareness, one investigates it, and then one thinks about how it is that oneself, how one appears as the meditating person, the individual who's performing this meditation, or the self, or the person, or that I. Those are essentially synonymous here. That once one recognizes within that state that there's not even a single particle of such a intrinsically existing I, self, person, individual who's doing the meditation, then when one ascertains that, then there's that becomes entirely empty. That I, person, etc., becomes completely empty. And so then within that such a vacuity, then one should make very clear within one's mind the simple concept of that. That is the mere absence of that that person or I. The simple, here this is a simple negation, meaning a negation that does not imply anything else. It's simply the absence of the thing which is negated. So what the idea of that, or the image of that within one's mind, one should make very, very clear. And then without producing any other kind of mental elaboration or thinking about anything else whatsoever, one should remain in meditative stabilization on that single-pointedly. And and after a while, when that meditative stabilization, its mode of apprehending that mere vacuity, which is that simple negation, when that starts to weaken, then within the state of that meditative equipoise or stabilization, you should again do the kind of analysis that one did before, such as using the reasonings that we discussed previously, that if the I existed, it would have to be either, if a real I or intrinsically existing I existed, it would have to be either identical with its basis of designation or absolutely distinct from its basis of designation. Do that kind of analysis, or one could employ the reasoning of dependent origination as well. And then once one is, then when within the state of that meditative equipoise, returning again to that after doing that kind of analysis, then single-pointedly meditating in that way is what is called the way of maintaining this meditative equipoise, which is like space.
Oh yeah, that is and now la babni mega tonsante and thoma ngidikara and thoma tonin nevata ngartawala komba yonge chiki ni wenane thoma tetang wana ngartawala komba mena ani kandire sana ani kasa gidi kasila ani ngade tawanem ba labaki tawanem labaki ani mga mendunyambaki jita jieta tawala komba yina ani kasore ani yang ambunu boka shelda ani kawaje o kawaje ta o tenji ta tenji waresu wa 제도 기남샤 때문에 다 제도 그 가서 아니 가서래 제도 그 나샤 때문에 내가 냠샤 때라 랑바나 제도 그 내가 가서 아니 주 감주 뒤치 주대 가서 쉬어나 신이제 상관로서 와 감투라 누와에 누와라 때는 중화 인장 주대 양타바데 아니 라시 주엄 때문에 주엄마이 야
So then here, when one is a beginner initially, when one gains that ascertainment of that that vacuity, which is that simple negation, the simple absence of that real self, then if one has not been accustomed to that view previously, then sometimes people will become frightened, terrified, thinking that I don't exist. That kind of thing will occur. Or if someone has previously been accustomed to this kind of view, then they'll be delighted. So there are different cases here. In some cases, people who have, even when they're first doing it in this lifetime, then because they've been very accustomed to it in previous lives, they'll actually have delight at this. Others who haven't been accustomed to it in that way in the past, when they have this appearance of the vacuity, which is that simple negation, then they could be terrified. So there are different cases here. So then the next lines in the root text, verses 31, first two lines, says, with respect to the way in which, explaining how things occur within the post-meditative stage, it says that the person, this is a quote from the Precious Garland, it says, the individual is not real because the six elements are collections. That is, the six elements that we went through, earth, water, etc., all of those are collections themselves, and therefore and thus they're not real, and therefore the person that is designated or individual that's designated based upon the collection of those things is also can't be real.
Oh yeah. 다 제도가 나셨던 가르래서 양다 많이 시 냠샤 텔라라네. 아니 따바나 나니 지셔와데 아니 담 머리 바자길래 봐 인상. 머리 비던지 수요 왕기 세대 머리 바자비 아니 셰베 레비 왕기 아니 치줄로 된루도 나와 나미 기분이 매매스 치줄로 된루도 나야 그 된루 줘봐 그 기분이 매매 현장 기본 강사 나 잠시 여봐 내가 열라 나 잠시 열라 나 잠시 예수야 또 토요일날 매당 타달라 루도 따와다 다 가상 주원나 신신이 예수의 가르를 했으나 토요일날 매당 타달라 루도 따와다 지우시 감추감 풍봉아 초점라大把给 민게大把점지 야 민게 大把점 예주양 세대他的강사디 등 다시 촌딩도 여봐 많이 받쳐 다시 될라 아니大把점도 대송을 가나 감주감 풍봉아 초점라大比民점我得了大比民점도 여봐만 다점 또배 다점당 양다바 마인바 호다 안테순데야 되거든.
So then when one rises out of that meditative concentration and examines it again, then then it's like this, that one's own mind, the stream of awareness, it appears appearing as the individual. This appears in an erroneous fashion because of the force of us being controlled by the demon of ignorance. And so that individual that appears is non-existent. However, although it is non-existent, that person, nevertheless, the individual, the person, the mere I, definitely exists. And with regard to the way in which it exists, it's just in the way that that a person is designated based upon a cairn, or a snake is ascribed to a coiled up rope, just like that. Then the individual is a mere name which is ascribed to the collection, the mere collection of its own 6 elements or 5 aggregates. So here it says that individual is a mere name, which is designated to or ascribed to the mere collection. It's not the collection. The collection is the basis for that designation, but the individual, person, self, etc., are mere names that are designated upon those collections, the collection of the 6 elements or the 5 aggregates, regardless. And so that's a mere name, and it's also a mere symbol and a mere mental construct. So it's a mere name, a mere symbol, and a mere mental construct.
Oh yeah, 대인상 대가소래 냠샤기 ngorla 아니 나를 하마면 봐 나한테 기바차 냠샤기 ngorla 그봐 냠샤기 ngoro 아니 나한테 하마면 봐 기장 냠샤기 싱고라 나매 봐차 단냠샤라 람비 제도 그내가서 아니 냠샤기 ngor 싱고를 나키니 아니 제도 람바나 가차 된주 간에 하마 류와 가르도 나나더니다 나 잠시 류와 와 그들이 들으선도 나 잠시 류와세 냐샤 라베 제도나 안에 강한 류도 내와나 나 잠시 류와 나 대야 또배 심에도 다위 또다 민잠도 또잠 또배 시자네 매바게 라 다위 또다 민잠도 세버 내와 상게 제와 내가 상기 제와당 와 하고서
Ja, maar zo.
간세
Ik heb sang. 都被
都被西藏的没吧？
都被西藏。
那些大厦给西迁的没吧？闽江，闽江咱们说，要闽江咱们去留啊，
名称。So here then, the way this, again, review this is that within the meditative concentration that one has developed, and then having gone through the analysis as described, then one has completely eliminated the real self, the self that appears as if it was real, that is existing in a way that it doesn't actually exist, as if it was intrinsically existent or had its own intrinsic identity. One has completely eliminated that. And through the elimination of that, one has this, one sees this mere absence, which is a vacuity, the elimination of that falsely conceived real self. But so within the context of the meditative absorption, the I doesn't appear. One is simply aware of this mere vacuity, which is a simple negation. But then when one arises out of that meditative concentration, then the I exists. There is an I, but it is a mere name. It's a mere mental construct. And this is also explained by Gelug, where he says that when one arises out of meditative concentration, meditative stabilization, having seen that mere vacuity or that simple negation, then the I, there is an I left over, but that I is a mere name or a mere mental construct, which is without any foundation.
如果我哋多bij前面都大约到达民间这么多三八的，我话上个计划当，我是计划当。安尼体育天了，安尼计划有，计划咱俩马些吧，计划马些吧，安尼体育天了嘛，体育天了修呗，安尼来说吧不当，这不娘啊不当，安尼吃东了所谓吃话去年时候娘外出，吃话去年时候才买出吧呢。 아니 동바당 댄지 손도 주바 동바다 댄지 손도 주비 소라 내가 니주 아니 가서래开些배 좀 제가선 제가다 민주화 중앙 예수에 대한 시체니 디앙 아니 양다바 마인바 두마다비 동바 댄지도 샤와담랑 시년에 검신 세자 지바인지
So then, when one has this awareness of the I, the mere I, which is a mere name, a mere symbol, a mere mental construct, without any foundation for it, then without engaging in investigation of that or trying to analyze how it is operating or whatever, one then engages in other kinds of activities, like goes about one's daily life, doing whatever needs to be done, eating, cleaning up one's house, whatever. And then if one does it in that way, and preserving that recognition that the I is a mere name, a mere mental construct, a mere symbol, without any base foundation at all, then that is what is called the integration of emptiness and dependent origination. One is integration of emptiness and dependent origination. And this is said here in the text as well, where it says that unreal thing, which is a void which is similar to a magical illusion, and when it appears as a dependent origination, and one has given rise to an ascertainment of that, certain definitive ascertainment of that. And so that's referring to the same thing, this integration of emptiness and dependent origination.
그래서 어디 동바당 댄지 순주 주바 세가나 안에 동바래 댄주 샤와다 댄주나 동바 샤와 대양 양다바 마인바 주마다 유 동바 댄주도 샤와 잠래 니 시견에 원신 연다 주마다 위 댄지 컨디션을 라신지 투와 나양 안 라신지 투베 동바 주미 대신 달란도 나야 달란도 동바 나 신체니 어 텐저와데 단 좀 된다기 도이 아니 도저섬에 양지 참바 차대스 로데디 띵지 자오체 로 띵지 자유 가게 하는 송어에서나 주마 제바타기 수데데 따다나 뭐 신다 나소체 대라치다 나와 가야 매세 아니 주마 칸바비 디시다나 주와 티세나 아니 주미 나와라 로지 친지로라 다시 달라도 나게 요래데 나와 나제 아니 대나라 아니 다나 천이 밤 가야 매바나시 예배라 하시니 최나탐제 디신시와 시제 최탐제장 라시지 주와 나양 아니 라시지 주와 매바시와 시니
So thus, that is what is, again, what is called the way in which one here maintains the meditation process by having this ascertainment of emptiness and dependent origination appearing in coordination like that, such that one understands that although the I appears to be real, it's actually empty of being real, and yet, although it is unreal it doesn't exist in the way it ordinarily appears to us, it nevertheless appears, it functions within causal relationships, and so forth, so it's a dependent origination, and thus the emptiness appears in the sense of dependent origination, and dependent origination appears in the sense of emptiness in that integrated fashion. So this is also, as it's explained, this is stated as well, and to help recall this, one should remember the stanzas of the profound sutras, and here is a quotation from the Samadhi Raja, the king of meditative concentrations. And it says, the first verse that's quoted says, just like a magician emanates a illusory form, and which appear in various ways, such as like horses, elephants, and carts, all of these various emanations or magical illusions that they conjure up. Just as those things appear, they're completely non-existent. That is, they appear, the horse, the elephant, the cart, which the magician conjures up, appears as if it's an actual horse, cart, or elephant, but in fact, there's no actual real horse, cart, or elephant there in any way whatsoever. And so the verse stanza continues saying that, one should understand all phenomena like that. All phenomena appear to us, ordinary beings, as if they existed by means of their own intrinsic nature. But in that sense, those phenomena are completely non-existent. There's no intrinsically existing phenomenon anywhere at all. So although they appear to us as if they were real, existing by means of their own intrinsic nature, but those phenomena don't exist in any way whatsoever.
Oh yeah, that didn't much what you said. Mama, 대신도 밀람나 아니 가르나양 아니 나왔다도 마주와나시 대달 지더라 부모신이 밀람나 아니 부부 충신 부포지 아니 계신 아니 시 아니 되게 시와티 시와제 통에 밀람가 나가서 통에 아니 포제와 아니 그 제와게 아니 가져 제와다 아니 시와게 아니 메가와제와 나신이체니 밀람나 어디 밀란데 기타 밀란나 나왔다도 매번 나신이체니 아니 취했다면 나신이 줘야 대다 시와차 지진도 아니 참모 취다와 당신 야밤에 비춘나도 아니 다외 순에 차와 나서 취다 동바 소대 순도 매바 다윗 수년 나야 다윗 수년 매번 나시 다와 매번 나시 전에 아니 최도들 라시 주나 라시 매번 세마이 되다 미주나야 니마 쓰가다 쓰고내가서 어다 미주춘 쓰고내가서 니마 책이네 아니 기고 공부 동안라 미주춘 나와 나시 나야 아니 미주춘마 출마 주바 나시 전에 아니 라신지 주와나 라신지 주와 마도 다 두스마 자야
So the other examples are similar. The next one is that just as a young woman in her dream sees herself give rise to a son, and then she sees that die, and from seeing her son born, she's delighted, and seeing it die, seeing him die, she's miserable, she's sad. So just like that, one should understand all phenomena, meaning that all phenomena appear in a dreamlike fashion, and that they appear as if they're existing by means of their own intrinsic nature, but those the way they appear to us, they don't exist at all. So they're completely dreamlike in the sense that they don't exist as they appear. The real phenomena that appear to us are in fact completely non-existent. So then the next verse explains, just like at night, when there's a moon, which the moon is full and is shining in a clear lake. There's a lake that's completely, the water is clear, there's no mud in it at all. And so the moon appears within that lake, but that water moon, that is the reflected image of the moon in the lake, is actually empty, it's insignificant, and it's unapprehendable as an actual moon. If you see the lake and you think that's a real moon by seeing that reflected image, then you've been drawn into error from the reflected image into thinking that it's a real moon. But in fact, as a real moon, that reflected image is nothing at all. It's insignificant, it's empty, it's unapprehendable. And so similarly, one should understand all phenomena that appear as if they possess intrinsic existence are just like that. They're insignificant, empty, and unapprehendable in that way. Then another example in the next stanza is that just like at midday in the summer, someone who's tormented by thirst and is wandering about, they see a mirage as if it was a mass of water. So in that example there, the person is wandering in the desert, they're thirsty, and they see in the distance a shimmering appearance, which they take to be a lake, a mass of water, and they crave to go get a drink from it. But in fact, that is not any water at all. It's just a mirage. And so similarly, it says one should understand all phenomena as in that same way. They appear as if they're real, but they're devoid of the kind of reality that we ordinary persons ascribe to them.
Oh yeah.
Mikyu layang chu.
Oh, that's what I said. Mujulani Chuli Pumbo, the China, Mujulani Chuni, Yama, Sanja Mombatella, Tung de Meden Chuni Tunga, your Mares, or the Mombata Chutoni, and a Chuton in China, Midama Chutum Menu, Chunabi. Tishi Chushim Dombola, Nimbo Dechi, Chushingla, Nimbo Dechi, Kiwi, and Chushing Dombo de Shaja, Nanda Chirokuna, Nimbo Meba. Oh, or Chutamja, Ani, or Rashi Chuameba, that.
So then then there's a summation here that says that there's no water in the mirage, but the confused sentient being has a desire to drink that. That unreal water is not something that one's able to drink. And one should understand in the same way all phenomena, they are exactly the same as that. And then another example is given, just as some person wishes to get the core from the trunk of a wet plantain tree, and they go forth and they chop at it. But since there's no core either in the inside of the plantain tree, nor is there any core on the outside, one should understand that all phenomena are just like that.
Oh yeah, that take Marashime Batana Ma Tamni. 아니 냠사기 네 제도가 내가서 아니 단이 제도 나도 주마다 보고 매드마 답변이 있거나 두스마 다 가서래 두스 송아체 다 되네 다 란지지다 라심에 봤다나 밤에 티제라 아니 다기와 마이와당 아니 취지다면 때나 봐야 되나 대다란주 주디에 가사가 다면라 아니 콤바 냐오도 취니 때나 봐도 콤바 냐오도 취바나 두발에 나지 잡아 된다 섬제 탐제치 섬제 탐제 된다 취구시세 나라신지 마주와 신자와 된자와 아니 섬제 탐제장 나라신도 매바 주비르바 대단 때나 때네 섬제 탐제장 라신지 매바 탐제 섬제 라신지 매바 시 섬제 탐제 아니 내지 때라 때나 라신지 매바 아니 가서 진짜지 된다 시와 되게 아니 풍부라서 그 최고 라신지 매바 시와 시现가사당 최직다며 군수 땜비체를
So thus, those examples and the verses from the King of Meditative Concentration Sutra are that explanation is explains how one is to preserve, maintain the meditation in the post-meditative concentration phase, after you've come out of meditative, formal meditation, sort of seated meditation, and one goes about one's everyday activities, one should maintain the meditation through seeing things as this combination of appearance and emptiness. In that way, there's a combination of appearance and emptiness which is like a magical illusion. And so reflecting on those verses from the sutras is useful for helping one to maintain that. And then once one has included within one's own experience this being accustomed to the selflessness of the person as it is included within one's own mental continuum. That is, once one has gained an understanding of the selflessness of persons with respect to oneself, then, as it says in the verse text of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, just like oneself, one should understand all other sentient beings as being like that. All sentient beings are like that. And just as all sentient beings are, so one should understand all phenomena. So this means that just as oneself is devoid of oneself is devoid of a self as it ordinarily appears to us, as if it was real, existing by means of its own intrinsic nature, then likewise all sentient beings, oneself and all others, are just like that. And similarly, just as all sentient beings are like that, so one should understand that all phenomena are like that in the same way. So that's the quotation from the sutra. And then it says, this is given in, or what the verses that follow are the way in which one are taught, so as to be able to do the meditation on the selflessness of other persons as well as the selflessness of phenomena. And so this also includes here the meditation on the selflessness of mind, things which we judge to be our possessions, or that we have some control over, whether they're other persons or other phenomena. This applies to that as well.
Oh yeah. 아니 지다와 대신 감리를 장 되지 않다 니도 미스르가나 다 가서에 주 감주 두어라 때는 따와나 신천이 아니 다 감근안에 상감다 오지 나양 아니 상감 대양 아니 랑그 차샤 초발할 때는 따와 중감 대양 랑그 차샤 초발할 때는 따와 오 감리르양 랑그 차샤 초발할 때는 따바점 임배 아니 양다니도 밈데 라신지 주와 매바 되게 감레레 양 라신지 마주바데다 최이다면서 거래 와 수윈자 대신 감레라는 되지 양다니도 민시 숭바신시 치달 치신 자와나서나 상감 그 띵도 아니 사이 감세데 상감 그 차샤 초발할 때는 따와 이제 가나 상감데 가와도 차샤리를 띠네 누가 초반할 때는 누가 따위가나 아니 강도야 매봐 초바티 다시 임배 강도야 매봐 다 가려와래서 다시 풍부 초반할 때는 아니 강아셔야지 명점도 여봐요 나시 장기 상금 초바기 차샤 초바 되기 띵두다 사이 칸점 대양 명점 명장 다요점 명점도 여바 인자 아라운드 메바 다도 순거인지.
So then the way one does that is by, as it says in the root text here, similarly, this is the second half of verse 31 and verse 32 in the root text. And it says, likewise, with respect to the individual elements as well, since they are collections themselves, they're not real. They're not real. And so when one so here what that's referring to is the way in which one develops an understanding of the selflessness of phenomena. Here we're going into the elements, earth, water, fire, wind, space, and consciousness, which are the basic constituents which collectively make up the basis of designation of the I or the self, the person. Now, if we look at any of those individual constituents or elements, like for example the earth element, which is the earth element, the concept element is formed based upon the observation of some collection of particles which is suitable to be designated by that kind of name. But when we look for earth element within that collection, which is its basis of designation, we don't find earth element. What we find instead is going down into the individual particles. We find a collection of particles first, and then when we look at the individual particles, we find that they're also collections, they're complex phenomena, and so on, and such that one doesn't find any foundation within that which is within the basis of designation for the term earth element. There's no here the name which is given to it, earth element, is ascribed to that collection of particles which is suitable to be designated in that way. But the earth element as such is again similar to the way the person is a mere name or a mere symbol, a mere mental construct. Earth element as well is a mere name, a mere mental construct.
Oh yeah. Sumba chichen zawana, nyangcha nyamba jongkan so, duren zayang manye ba, tese yinme chijidu, nangata we nyamsha jong xie xie to, tiang, da kande re sana, jeba tamche tang. Ani chinang ki sayi kamdang. Deshin du, ani chuda chungam meginang, nungdang, namba xiwe kam re re wadang. Yang duwa so, kwande ji chue tamche. Da koyan duwi chue tang. 냥제지 뒤위 최 탐제 랑자 남라 가란돌라 가르나고 랑자 나라 로라 나와딩 에와 체네 난주데 가체 나와디 방 에와 체네 와 로라 나와딩 에와 체네 응알 아니 가사된라 비비가나 가사도 라시면 받된라 비비가나 말이 기비 난주당 진주 단에 냠바 줘봐 치다 와를 쓰리가나 난주당 진주데 단에 안에 대다도 매발 아니 가서를 마라신지 주바 까삼지 메가들 냠바 줘봐 티신도 단단 디앙 안에다 감주버 레레당 아니 레레 띵도 안에다 가서래 난주된 해와 체네 안에 티든도 라신지 주바 까삼지 메가들 냠바 줘봐 숭해들아 내가 체네 말 기비 난주데 진주 단에 냠바 줘봐 치다와 단라 팝데 담바토와 두자 많이 바티 세 많이 바데 아니 다시 상감 그 아니 다시 상감 소비 띵도 상감 다네 많이 바데 아니 가르세를 예비초 라시지 마 주바냐 바레세 많이 바데 예비초 가산시 많이 바데 예비초당 많이 바데 마종와데 통화 담바세다 가산체나
So thus, then the remainder of this verse continues that when one examines it in that way, that each of the individual elements, because they themselves are composites, they're not real. And that's the way it's explained in the Master Nagarjuna's work. And when one examines it in that way, if one searches for for the meditator or the meditation. Here in the root text it says, when one searches for the meditation or the person who's performing the meditation, one doesn't find even a single particle, a single atom. Then once one has not found even a single atom of the meditator or the meditation, then at that time one should, the verse continues from there. But with respect to that not finding even a single particle, here the commentary to this says that, moreover, with respect to all ordinary beings as well as Aryas, or with respect to the inner and outer elements such as earth and so forth, the inner elements within one's own body and the external elements of the earth and so forth. And similarly with water, fire, wind, the element of consciousness, individually or collectively, or one could say just in toto, the entirety of all the phenomena of samsara and nirvana, when they appear to our minds, the minds of we ordinary people, and the way in which they appear to us is that we first have to ascertain how it is that they appear to us. And we're doing this in exactly the same way that we did with the eye. First of all, we have to bring forth sort of the idea of the things as if they were intrinsically existent, and that appearance of them as intrinsically existent. And so here we're doing this examination with respect to phenomena other than the eye. And so once one has done that, then one examines, just as previously one examined the way in which the individual appears and the way in which we apprehend the individual. And then we do that similarly with respect to the meditation here and the meditator. And having established that, we find that there's not even a single particle of the meditator or the meditation which is real, that exists. It appears to us as if the meditator and the meditation were intrinsically existed by means of their own autonomous character. But if we do the analysis of this in the same way that we did with respect to the eye, we find that there's not even a single particle. And so 두참양 마니에파
두참은 덴바토바 두참 많이 바티테 아니 덴바토바 두참 많이 바티 아니 많이 바티 예비 초래 두참 매반지 예바 매바테 아니 가소를 예비 초래서 따와냐 바레스 많이 바티 따든 자유잖아 많이 바티 아니 랑신 돈이라 와.
So then what one is doing then is in examining other phenomena other than the eye. Here one can apply this in multiple ways, but in all cases one examines this, and what one is doing is examining the basis of designation upon which the thing is designated. And when one searches exhaustively within that basis of designation for the thing which appears to be real to us, and one finds that it doesn't exist within its basis of designation, then one arrives at, again, that simple negation, the mere vacuity, which is the absence of that putatively real thing that appears to us. And when one ascertains that, then that not finding of the real thing which one was looking for is the best kind of finding the absence of it, having done that kind of special search within its basis of designation. When one's looking for the designated thing within its basis of designation and one doesn't find it, then that's, here it said, a quotation from the Sutra, Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, that says, not finding is the supreme kind of finding, not seeing is the best sort of seeing. And that's in reference to that here. One can construe this with respect to within meditative concentration practice as such, or one can also apply that to what occurs in the post-meditative, in between meditation sessions as such. But so one can do it in either way.
가소리 동반이래 자니 다든 자였잖아. 다베랑신 자유데 많이 받에 크바미스. 많이 받에 크바마이스. 많이 가자 고메베 제지 면자 나마르 세가나 많이 받에 과고바 마레스. 아니 많이 받에 아니 많이 비나라 하마텔라 아니 가르 명tam지 류거를 순거를 왔다 되나시 전에 많이 받에 니베 초다 마동 와도 통화 담바 숨바신 다 셈라 자두양 셈 까지 nga지요 셈지 차세 초밤 셈 까지 nga시 초비 띵도 아니 셈 자네 많이 받에 아니 셈지 된다 많이 봐 아니 된다 병어 통화 인베스 된다 봐서 저 돈이 공 어체 된다 가자를 맞아 잖아 그러 된다 병어 통화 인베 생活 쳐봐야 되게 나래 생활 쳐봐 입에 되게 나래 세가나 다 된다디 되게 나래 아니 제지도 내주 가담 신이나 갖다 변양사 좀 생기 띵도
So here then, what this is describing then again is one is doing this investigation of the relationship between the thing which is designated and its basis of designation. That is, so one can do this in terms of any kind of object at all. We did it already with the eye. So when one examines any kind of phenomenon and looks for the
많이 버리니 비켜다 마동원의 통화 담아 손바지 심지 된다 병어 통배 생활 처바 인베스 어디
So here then, what one is doing then is, when one looks within the basis of designation for the designated thing and doesn't find it, that entails then that the way in which the thing appears to us as being real cannot be the case. And so when one does that exhaustive search for the designated thing within its basis of designation and doesn't find it, that not finding is where it's described in the sutra as the supreme kind of finding. What that means is that what one actually finds in that after the analysis is complete is the absence of that fictitious thing that one previously imagined, and instead one finds the simple negation of that fiction, and finds that mere negation, which is in the case of experience, is like a simple vacuity, absence of that which appeared previously. But then when one arises out of that meditative concentration in that way, then again the things will appear. But because one has ascertained in the course of the analysis and meditation that they don't exist as they appear to us, then one is able to maintain the certainty, one has this ascertainment that they are mere names or mere mental constructs, just as we did with in the case of the I or self, person. It applies to all other phenomena as well. So here then, if one's doing this with respect to the mind, here in the course of this instruction, the mind is the object that one is investigating and meditating upon. So the mind is a continuum. That is, it exists just as a sequence, an unbroken chain of moments, instance that is a previous moment of mind gives rise to a present moment of mind gives rise to a subsequent moment of mind. So because it's a continuity like that, the way it appears to us as being real can't obtain, because the basis of designation, calling it mind, is if you search for that mind which appears as if it was real within that basis of designation, then it's unfindable. That falsely construed real mind doesn't exist within the stream of mind that is the basis of designation of the term mind. So here then it says, by seeing the ultimate character of mind, then that is the introduction to mind.
Oh yeah, that ni yana as that do be she lose she to trawas tanga la mela jaju sama ane that do be she de da ki da she de la and she to travel lose me that 가서래 주시라바 가두자마 아니 진 나도 다탄도 비 시대 가와래서 신도 트래블 웃음데 데레 초발할 때는 아스다고 알아 나도 도비 시차와 눈좀 신도 트라와 송싱했어 나머지 거기 당아봐 남장 아니 샘지 가서 샘기 천이 좋아서 남도 샘지랑신 초주자마 샘지 내로 때나 배발라 때나 배발라 생活 쳐봐 셔봐 따르 네 샘지 내로 때나 배발라 생活 쳐봐 셔봐 따르 매바스 야나냐바 샤핑앙 냠샤 티킹 안에 아니 수수 마주부 샘데 아니 수제주 마주바 인장 아니 동상 아니 샘라 관계에 드메 바인바 아니 사르그 차이자 드메 나조 차신 초 관계에 드바 메바야 아니 나와 나조 바 차기요와 인자 샘라 나와 나조 바 차기요와 인자 드메 나조 차신 초 감에 사실이 밤마 샘코랑기 오데 아니 사실이 비균 체바 메바 체바 메바 주비 샘 되면 나시 짐바이 아니 다 되면 나시 짐바이 샘사르 그 차정 뭐지니 아니 디 샘사르 그 차티게 아니 다 가서래 현유고바 시와라 샘사르 그 차데 라신지 주와 짐바다 가서래디 샘모에 순디 가나 나라에 대박이 샘데 마순네 다디 띵도 안에 자유 가는 거 거야 되라다 그 군다 소체 자원에 정말 말아 진시 세나 가라 다디도 송거래 이런.
So then to finish off that last point, within that very state of the identification of the mind, which is by seeing the ultimate character of mind, then that mere negation, mere elimination of it as being established as real is, within that, one should maintain then this meditative absorption on the nature of things, which is like space. And then the next topic is with respect to the subtle foundation upon which the self is designated, this is taught to be the extremely subtle wind and mind. And then some of the instructions about this also hold, some of the masters who have given instruction on this also accept that this is the introduction to mind, and they do so by means of establishing the way in which the mind exists. And so here the author, Panchen Chögyam, is saying that I will state that in accordance with the way this is accepted by, it has been presented by some of the early masters, although it's some ways of construing this are not entirely acceptable and have to be qualified in certain ways, as will be done subsequently. So this is in verse 33 of the root text. And it says that alternatively, The first word is alternatively. Within that state of meditative concentration, here, this is what is under discussion here is the phenomenal character of mind, which is its clear cognitive character. It's clear and aware, or clear and cognitive character. And so that says that is not established as physical. It's void, or a vacuity. It's void. It's without obstruction. It nevertheless it produces various appearances. Various things appear, and it diffuses out into various forms of appearance. And it is a unceasing stream of clarity and awareness, and the mind operates without any interruption in that unceasing stream of clarity and awareness. But it appears as if it was not contingent, and we misapprehend it as being not contingent. And so that object which we misapprehend, that is, when we misapprehend this clear cognitive character of the mind as if it was not contingent, then it being not contingent is rejected, is refuted by the protector Shantideva, who says that things like continuities, or streams of events, or collections are just like a rosary or an army. They're fictitious. So by means of scripture such as that, as well as by reasoning, we can establish that that clear cognitive character of the mind does not exist, does not exist in the way that it appears. And then once one has done that within that state of understanding that the clear cognitive character of the mind doesn't exist in the way it appears, then one should single-pointedly remain in meditative concentration on that.
오야 대기다 단대 가르친 거래서나 차바메바 주비 셈세야기 셈사르 그 나라와나 그 안에 셈제라 신데 그 셈은 그 군조고 어떤 거 손에 되면 나신 셈바이 아니 세대게 다 랑루기 셈 텐다비 셈정의 손에 셈제라 신지 맞주가 땅라 파바데 인바이메데 신유고바 시원레스 인다 군의 초시 차원이 세거나 셈태야 나지 군당 셈그 차세 초발라 때네 안에 따와 임바 따바자 마임바 따바자 마도 아니 가서 라신지 주와 매바 주와 마소 신도 주인세 청와대 청와 시와대 안에 청와 레레 차이가 안에 청와 자창와들라 안에 청와 전이 따와들 마 초바들 따와들 마도 청도레레 산나 청와 매아린 바是吧 마라 소와야 마보 초발할 때나 마시치니 따와들 마들 레레 파 산나 마 매바나시 인자 초바텔라 막세와데 마소 치마 초바데 치마자 초비디도 치마시 딱점도 마도 아니 치마데 가이 충도 자타버지 원나 라완도 추와데 매바 요 대마라 테나시 제니간라 대이 나시 제니 셈당 ang아지 균당 셈그 차샤 소비 띵도 다시 공도 샤바나시 셈셰바 따바장도 민장장도 민장장도 마도 라왕기 마주바 어텐데 왜 라왕기 마주바텔라 누나 리베 난주다도 누 시소 누나 리바에 난주다도 마주비 아도 제치 냠바샤스 난주다도 가르사 라왕도 투와 나장 나와다도 매바
So then, now this character of the mind being clear and cognitive, or clear and aware, That's the phenomenal character of the mind. Some people have misconstrued that as if it existed in a non-contingent way, as if it was the ultimate character of the mind. But this is not the case, and can be established by reasoning as well as by scriptural citations. For example, in terms of just citing a proof text, one can cite here this passage from the protector Shantideva. Here then the mind, it says that the mind, this stream of clarity and awareness, which is the mind operates without any interruption as a stream of clarity and awareness unceasingly. Here then, that statement can then establish, and once we investigate it, clearly that mind which appears to us is not established by means of its own intrinsic nature, is not real in the sense that it appears to us as if it had its sort of uncontingent or intrinsic autonomous way of existing, but it doesn't. And this is established by the scriptural passage that's going to be discussed here, as well as by reasoning. So Master Shantideva says that just like that so-called continuums or streams of events or collections are just like a rosary or an army. They're fictitious. What that means is, in the case of the mind is a stream of events. That is, the word mind, which we use to identify mind, is actually a mere name or a mere designation which we apply to its basis of designation, which is the continuum of the various events, past, present, and future events that occur as that stream of mind. So just like a rosary is a fiction, it's a mere name that we ascribe to this string which has 108 beads on it. But if we look for the rosary within that collection of parts, which is its basis of designation, if we investigate, try to find the real rosary, where is it? Is it in any one of those individual beads? Is it in the string of them put together in some way? No, we can find that in fact it's a mere name or identity that we ascribe to that kind of collection of things. And then likewise with an army, if you take an army and you eliminate one by one each of the members of the army, then there's no army left at all. So therefore, army is just a name, a mere name, which is used to identify that collection of persons who are configured in a certain way. But there's no real army to be found within that collection. It's simply an identity or name which we ascribe to it, a mere mental construct or a kind of fiction that we use to identify such things. And so that's Nangwata Madrupa. Nangsu Tardu Madrupa. So once one is determined that the mind doesn't exist as it appears to us as if it had this autonomous character. It wasn't contingent. But in reality, it's merely just a name which we use to identify accurately this stream of events, which is the whole chain of which operates unceasingly, and of the operation of that clarity and awareness, which the stream of the events of clarity and awareness, which we give the name mind to.
Oh yeah, that didn't that they were yana. 자단치라 아니 야나 다위 샵지 우마주발에 소환함시 심이진이 심전치 된다 너지 지대 신도 나서 그제 아니 심디 니지 탐제제 자와 땜배 아니 심지 시사천나 심용 어디 아버지 뭐 최선나 추현당 미래에 다 디더 차디스 다다지 여게 수수 마주 동상다 디면 나주 차신도 세대 대 차제 맞지 gyunyaba shabing nyamsha taking ane rasimla tabani su kandu ya matruba tongsang yawa su matru tongsang nima la ting daba ki driba meba ting driba meba na chen yu ane sawa ane miju guju ane kasoro sana ane miju guju ta miren guju semde na shen la ba ga miju guju la ba chowa ta miren guju na zo ba chashi sil chowa ta mami shiwa ta bi gaba meba mami shiwa ta bi gaba meba sashi riba gychaba meba dingja jubi semde ta sem korang gujo bi sem grashinte.
So this is also explained similarly by the Master Chandrakirti in the introduction to the Middle Way. He says, by mind itself is all of the various things in the universe, all of the extreme variety of all of the different forms of things that occur within the world, as well as the world of sentient beings. Mind is itself what arranges and sets these things forth. So what that means then is that the explanation of that line, those two lines from the introduction to the Middle Way, is that mind is the root of the entirety of the universe, of the environment, and of sentient beings. And when one gets to the bottom of mind, it is a device which is different from all others. So where it says gets to the bottom of mind, it means understand exactly as it operates the phenomenal character of mind in its arrangement and fashioning of the universe. So here then it says, within the state of that meditative absorption that one has been in from previously, then when it starts to examine one's own mind, and then one comes to recognize that since it's not established as any kind of physical thing, it's vacuity, it's clear, free from any kind of physical obstruction, and just like the sun, which is free from any kind of clouds, it's unobstructed. It gives rise to all of the various forms of movement or things which are not moving. All of the things that we recall or we don't recall, all of those various things arise and they are diffused out from the mind. And it's unlike a lamp which has gone out, it's unceasing, and so it's a stream of clarity and awareness. And so the mind operates in a continuous fashion like that without any interruption. And So the mind exists in that way continuously without any kind of interruption.
아니 나왔다지 현유람 나왔다지 셈데 다 가서를 다지나시 시와나시 나왔다지 현유라 나왔다지 셈데세 라서 로라 칸라야 또와 매바모 라완도 나위 셈데 다 가차려와 와테다 준비 현유라 나왔다지 셈데 공부 시와래 다지 시와나시 균다 초스 시와네 처음으로 주제 시비 샤샤레 서부 사와나 아니 청와시 다점다 고전도 비주 두와라 마치 면장 다점마도 덴바 마주지 아니 룬다 리바기 나주다도 네비 다데르 와 가자 까니 청와다 다시 중간에 시와 나시 전에 아니 셈데 랑게 차샤소바다 귀초비 띵도 아니 면장 다일장도 마도 로칸나에 떠와메 봐 라완도 나와다 뒤와 말이스.
So this, once one understands that conventional character of the mind, or I should say the phenomenal character of the mind, the way it functions, constantly functioning as a stream, which operates with all of those different characters of being unobstructed, clear, cognizant, and producing sort of all of the appearances of the inner and outer world that arise for us. Then that phenomenal mind appears as if it doesn't depend upon anything else, that it was not contingent upon anything outside of itself. It appears as if it had a kind of autonomy, but that kind of appearance of the mind is in fact the object of negation here. That is, the mind appearing as if it had that autonomous, non-contingent character is actually the object which is misapprehended by ignorance, in which we hold the mind as if it existed by means of its own intrinsic nature or identity, and that's the object of negation in this particular context. So this is negated. The mind appearing in that way is negated by the protector Shantideva in the introduction to the Bodhisattva's way, a way of life, where he says that so-called continuums and collections are fictitious, just like rosaries and armies. And if we look at the rosary again as an example, then we give the name, we identify something as a rosary based upon this collection basis of designation, which is all of the various parts, all of the beads that are strung together on a string, and then we give that the name rosary, and it's merely a designation in that way. And then likewise, when we see the collection of a lot of people that are wearing armor, then we give the name army to that. And that, other than being a mere, a simple name, which is ascribed to those things, they don't exist as they appear at all. They're not real. And so we establish that by both the scriptural passage as well as by reasoning. And once one has gained a definite ascertainment of that they don't exist in the way that they appear to us, then one should remain in meditative equipoise on that single-pointedly.
Oh yeah, that is. You don't be near so. Similar, same market, the same generation. You saw, oh, see, Kana, Kondo, Ransen, Zimbi, Kana, and Dewa Meba, around the nation. Now that Zimbi, Shenula, now that is same day, and it's similar, you are married. I mean, Medi, Tendra data. Now, Tendra, Casore, Gajana to Yinzang, Semji Rashini, Yosawa, Semji Rashila, and Rashi Yosawa, Seragana, Denduki, Tembatro, Labayo Maris, Rashila, Time Labayo Maris, Semji Rashini, Yosawa, she similar Rashiji to be Semashi, Stayagina, and that Rashiji to be Semashi. Machidi, Semji Rashi, Yosa.
So this is also explained in the 8,000 line Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, where it says that mind is non-mind, the nature of mind is luminosity. So where it says mind is non-mind, it means that the mind that appears to us as if it was real doesn't exist. It's not mind, or in reality, the mind is empty of intrinsic existence. So when it appears as if it has intrinsic existence, such a mind doesn't exist in any way whatsoever. And then the nature of mind is luminosity, is the second line from that. Here, luminosity refers to the character of the mind. The basic character of the mind is not in any way adulterated with the existing as real. That is, it's not in any way, the basic character of the mind is not adulterated with existing by means of its own intrinsic nature, or having that autonomous character that we falsely ascribe to it. And so here then it says that the comment on that says that with respect to mind, the mind which exists by means of its own essence or by means of its own intrinsic nature does not exist. The nature of mind is luminosity, that is emptiness.
我呀，跟着来，跟着告诉人，你告诉的，心里推送的三界tham界机，让心去准备心里推送的三界tham界机，马西没西，你是不是没有了？
And likewise, in the Ratnakuta, the collection of precious things, or heap of precious things sutra, it says that the Buddhas of the three times, in the past, present, and future, have not seen mind, they do not see mind, and they will not see mind.
Oh, yeah, that changed.
Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayam.